Okay, we're here with Travers family head football coach Justin Wilcox. Go ahead if you have questions for Coach. Let me know and keep it to a single question on the first round, and then we'll entertain the second time around. We'll go ahead and get started with Jeff Verano. Go ahead, Jeff.
Justin, can you bring us up to speed on how things are going with Javion Thomas, and also maybe if you can run through your other injuries, Elarms or Ifanse, et cetera?
Yep. Well, we're glad to say that Javion's doing well, considering he obviously that was a scary moment up there. We appreciate all the help and care that he got while he was up in Eugene. He is back home and doing well. All the tests that he's undergone have been positive, and we're communicating with him daily. We don't have an update for when he would return, but he's doing well.
And Ifanse, Elarms, or others?
Yeah, Ifanse, week to week right now. Caleb, day to day. Let's see. Who else?
A lot of defensive linemen are kind of nicked up, it seems like, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's everybody's kind of dinged up. We're dinged up at inside linebacker and defensive line. So we'll hope to get as many of those guys back as possible.
All right, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll go to Jake Curtis. Go ahead, Jake. Jake, you may be on mute.
Setting aside wins and losses for a moment, what's been the most encouraging and most disappointing aspect of the season?
Well, it is about wins and losses, so it's hard to set that aside, Jake. That's what we're focused on. I appreciate the fact that the guys continue to compete. I think practice and meetings are a great indicator of the character of the team, and they've done a really good job week in and week out of coming in and working really hard. We've had some adversity along the way, and unfortunately, we haven't won some of those games that we had a chance to win, and that's frustrating. And I would say that I would have expected us to maybe finish a couple of those games better than we did. And whether it was, early in the season with maybe a position or a unit that probably could have played better, and maybe a different game where it was a different position or unit. We just, hadn't really put together a complete game. We still feel like we can do that, and we're looking forward to doing that on Saturday. But I appreciate the work ethic and the commitment that the guys show day in and day out with how they approach practice and meetings and competing on the field on Saturday.
Okay, we'll go to my cue here. We'll go to Connor Latorno from the San Francisco Chronicle.
Hey, Justin. I just wanted your thoughts on how Fernando's done just the past several weeks being thrown into that starting job. And just from a long-term outlook perspective, how encouraging is it for you to maybe feel like this program has found its quarterback going forward for the next 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, Fernando, I think he's done a good job. Obviously, he would agree that there's plays that he needs to learn from, and limiting turnovers and making great decisions with the ball. I love the fact that he's a tough guy, and he stands in there and he'll take some shots and deliver the ball. So he's very competitive. I think he can learn from his mistakes, which is huge. And I think he has a bright future. Obviously, he's still young in his development. We're going to continue to work with him, but he is, I think, got the demeanor and the talent to throw the ball, and again, that competitiveness that you're looking for. So really encouraged. But again, we want to see him grow from last week to this week, and he would expect the same of himself.
Okay, we'll go to Steve Croner from the San Francisco Chronicle.
Yeah, Justin, obviously the last month or so hasn't gone the way you guys would like it to go. You still have one goal, I'm sure, that you had at the start of the season, to be bowl eligible. Do you mention that this week, that you still have that? Or is it, we have to just win one game and we don't worry about the rest?
Yeah, we do talk about that, Steve, and that is a goal. And the only way to accomplish that is to go 1-0 this week. And so I think both those things are true. We know we have a challenge this weekend in Washington State, and we got great respect for them. And so we're going to need to play really well. And in order to do that, to accomplish, one of our goals, like we have to have a great week of practice. So those are the terms that we use, kind of each day and where we're at right now. But again, the guys and their approach to meetings and practice, really pleased with that. Now we just have to go out and perform on Saturday.
Okay, is there anybody else with an opening round question? Actually, I see one, Thomas Dunn. Go ahead, Thomas.
Good morning, Justin. Just to go off of what Steve was saying, obviously you have to go undefeated to get bowl eligibility, but starting with Washington State, what's one thing on each side of the ball that needs to be improved immediately in order for that to happen? Yeah,
I think when you're looking at Wazoo defensively, we've got to do a better job on those critical downs, 3rd and 4th downs, of getting them off the field. We know they have a very talented offense. In order to do that, I mean, that's, a layered response, because you got to do a good job on 1st down and getting them behind the chains, and all those things are easier said than done. But we got to force punts, and we need to, in the special teams unit, we need to give the defense long fields and start on their side of the field, and in order to force punts and not let them get into that go zone area where you're defending 4 downs. Special teams wise, it's that average starting field position, flipping the field with your return game and your cover game. And I think we've done a good job on kickoff as of late, covering. We need to do a better job in the punt game of flipping the field. And I think that's an area, along with the return game, the punt return and kick return game. And then offensively, it's about being efficient. When we get into rhythm, get that first down, we've been much more efficient in moving the ball. We got to limit those 3 and outs, and that's run game, that's pass game, it's RPO, that's all of it. But if we got to stay on schedule, get that first down, and then protect the football and not give it to the other team. So those are really the areas, and I know those are big things, kind of 10,000 feet, but that's what it takes to win.
Thank you.
Anybody else with an opening round question? Okay, we'll go back to Jeff Ferrato.
Justin, you just kind of mentioned this controlling the ball. Just talk about your disappointment in the number of turnovers you've had in recent weeks. It wasn't a problem early in the season for you, but at least not like it's been recently. What's going on there, you think? Yeah,
I mean, they're probably not one thing, Jeff. It's ball security. When we're holding on to it, it's decisions with the football. It's protection. It's so everybody's involved. It's, the O-line, tight ends, quarterback, running backs, receivers. I mean, everybody's involved in protecting the football. And we have to do a better job there, and end up in the plus category in turnover margin, because it's very, very difficult when you start giving the other team more possessions, especially against some of these offenses that we're seeing. So we got to do a good job, as I mentioned before, getting in rhythm, getting the first down, and then protecting the football. And when we've done that, then we've been able to score the ball and put points on the board.
On a slightly different subject, when you've lost 4 games in a row, as you have, and your team knows it has to win 3 in a row to get a bowl bid, how much do you have to balance talking about that without them feeling too much pressure that, there's like no margin for error at this point?
Well, I don't, we're always seeking perfection, but I have yet to see a perfect game. So, we understand there's going to be mistakes, and we do not want to play tight and anxious. We want to play aggressive and fast and with great technique and fundamentals. And I think that comes through preparation. That comes from meetings. That comes from practice and trusting yourself, trusting the call to go out and execute it. So, yeah, I understand. Those are facts. I mean, that's what it is. And so we're not going to hide from that. But we're also not going to go out there and be afraid to make a mistake. That's not a way to play this game. So we got to stay aggressive. We got to be prepared, which is, our meetings and our practice time and our technique and all those things. Then we got to go out and execute it on Saturday.
And Washington State has lost 5 in a row since they were 4-0 and ranked in the top 25. Is it a relief for your team not to have to play another top 25 team, or does that not matter at all?
Yeah, we don't approach it like that at all. Washington State's a very talented team. We've seen them on tape. We've played them before. So, this is a very talented conference. It's the best it's been. I think I can't remember a time, and I've been around it a long time, where it's been this good of a conference in terms of the top to bottom, the quality of the teams and the players. And so we know week in and week out, it's going to be a challenge, and it's no different this week. And so we're going to have to play our best football in order to win. And that's what we're looking to do as we, work through this week of practice and getting ready to play.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to Jake Curtis.
At this point, is your tendency to try to change things as much as you can to fix things, or to try to stay the course with your basic tenets?
Well, yeah, I think there's always, as we as coaches are always doing self-scout and watching, what we do well, where are our issues, why are we giving up plays, or where are turnovers occurring, where, what are the issues we might have in our coverage units. I mean, everything's being evaluated every week, and we talk through those things, Jake, and there are times when you do have to make an adjustment. It's schematic adjustment, maybe a personnel adjustment, and then there's other times when you have to execute the tech when it's sound and the player's capable. Then we have to, as coaches, find a way to get that player to execute it better on Saturday. So I think it's all those things. You don't necessarily go through. I haven't seen it where you just kind of throw everything out and start from scratch. You don't throw every player out. You don't throw every scheme out. I think it's a combination, and it's a ongoing evaluation in order to improve. And it's an emotion. We have emotional investment, and when you're not winning, and you put so much into this as players and coaches and fans alike, it hurts and it's frustrating. But you have to be very strategic and systematic about how you approach that, and in order to improve the outcome. And so we're really trying to dissect it each and every week. And we're doing the same this week. And we looked at the last game, and whether it's a matchup issue, is it a scheme issue? What was it that caused the negative play, so to speak? And what's the best answer we have right now in order to fix it?
Okay, we'll go to Steve Croner.
Yeah, just a little bit of an inside football question, if I might. When you're looking at video of last week's Washington State Stanford game, they're the next two teams you play. Do you look a lot at Stanford as well because you're going to play them the following week, or is the focus just on Washington State, and next week's video will be next week's video?
Yeah, the latter. I mean, you obviously notice things when you're watching the game. That game was a little unique too. It's played in essentially a monsoon, and so I'm sure that impacted some of how that game was played. But you're watching the next opponent, and you're preparing for the next opponent. I'm sure subconsciously you may notice things about the other opponents you watch. I mean, you do that every week, and whether it's a certain player, how he played a certain play, or maybe the talent at a certain position. So you're always noticing those things as you're putting the plan together for the team you're playing, which is Washington State this week.
Great, thank you.
Okay, we'll go back to Jeff Ferraro.
Justin, how is Craig Woodson playing? He's accumulated a lot of tackles last, I think, about 3 games. That doesn't always tell you everything, but I'm wondering what you think about how he's playing.
I think Craig's playing solid. Craig's a very steady guy. That's his personality. He brings it every single day. He cares a great deal about football. He wants to be good. I really like Craig as a player. He still has areas that he can improve in, and he would be the first to tell you that. I mean, that guy works at it now. I mean, he is first guy on the field, doing extra, watching extra tape. He just, he really, really cares and is invested. I love how he works. I got a lot of respect for Craig. I think he's playing well, and I think he can play better.
And on a different topic, with the move to the ACC, you guys are going to have an extra non-conference game slot going forward because they only play the 8 conference games. Could you imagine playing a team like WSU in the non-conference going forward at some point?
That's a great question, Jeff. That might make sense. Honestly, I'm not the one to ask right now. I haven't really thought about that too much. We're so dialed into what we're doing right now. I know we have a team of people, our administration and our sports supervisor are working on that. They've made some comments in passing here in the last couple of weeks about certain teams. I'm not going to go into depth on who they are. And I have an opinion on all that. But right now,
would you like to see matchups against your former Pac-12, rivals at times?
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of reasons to think that would be a good idea. There's probably more to consider. Again, I'm not in those meetings right now, Jeff. We're so focused on this season, and I'm sure when the time comes, they'll include me as much as they want to, our administration. But I think there's probably good reason for a lot of that. And there may be some limiting factors as well that I don't know about. I mean, schedules a lot of times, Jeff, are made so far in advance that it has to match up on who has an opening, who needs a game. So it's not as simple as sometimes just, well, it makes sense for us to play them. So.
Sure, I understand. And you're busy with other stuff right now, but they wouldn't schedule a team without consulting you, obviously. They brought it up in passing here in the last couple of weeks, and I don't have anything to report further than that. No, I just was wondering if that sounded like a possibility.
Yeah, I think it could be.
All right, thanks.
And we'll go to Thomas Dunn.
Justin, understandably, this was with a prior offensive staff that you guys had, but against Jake Dickert-led defenses, you guys have averaged 7.5 points in the past. What is it about his defenses that schematically have given you guys trouble in the past, and how do you feel like you guys have improved in the prep this week to right that ship? Yeah,
Jake, they do a good job. They're aggressive. They got good guys up front. Their two edge players are really good players. They'll get after you and challenge you. You have to win some one-on-ones in coverage, because they're going to be aggressive in covering down and not giving you easy pitch and catch throws. So you got to, get open. And so when we have those opportunities, we got to win some of those one-on-ones. We got to protect the quarterback, and he's got to deliver it. So I think they do a good job, and they have some good players. And so we'll have our work cut out for us.